much for having me. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here, and it's great to see so many of you partaking in what you love to do, and it's so great to see these folks who pull this off doing so well. So it's great to be here. My name is Jeff Kohnstahm, and I'm the area operator of Timberline Lodge, and I'm the president of our company. And my program isn't working right, so that the size of the image is kind of minimized, unfortunately. That's actually a photo, it's not painting. Wow. I was up there that night, we had the Oregon Tourism Commission up there, and some guy with a drone flew it up there and took that shot. I just think it's really cool. But Timberline is a really neat spot. Essentially, we are in the hospitality business. We are in the business of making memories for folks and in a number of different venues, whether that's through lodging or food and beverage, but primarily through recreation. And Timberline was built for the purpose of recreating, and it was a public works project. So the idea was Timberline was going to be this place for the common person, can't say common man anymore, but common person to be able to get out into the woods and recreate in a way that most Americans didn't recreate back then in the 30s. So very few amount of people who had sort of the skills to deal with the outside, and people vacationed in the summer. So this is kind of a new thing. There are certain pillars that we kind of go by to run our business. It's always good to be able to go back to what your foundation is when you're looking for guidance for yourself. And so I'll just kind of go through a couple of them, but one of them is the lodge itself. It's this National Historic Landmark. And one of the really neat things about Timberline, it's a really special and unique cultural, architectural, whatever, iconic place. But a lot of those sorts of things that are historic landmarks were often built for some reason, like a cannery or something like that, and then becomes a museum. But Timberline was built to be a ski area. It was built to be a place for recreation. And it's still being used for that very same purpose, which is, I think, really cool. You go into Timberline, it has museum qualities. If you haven't been in, go in sometime this winter. There's priceless artwork that was built and made for the project, but it's not behind a velvet rope. You can have a pizza and experience it like you're just in a bar. So the fact that it's being used as it was built for and used keeps the ability to maintain the place and keep it up. And so it's preserved through its use. It's not preserved from some big government fund or something like that. And then in terms of our recreation, we realize that we're in a natural environment, but we're developed recreation, and we understand that. And I've got this theory where there's a spectrum of land use that's appropriate for certain things and certain activities. In Timberline, we call it in the Forest Service A11. It's land allocated for developed recreation. So that's kind of one end of the spectrum. And on the far other end is wilderness, where there shouldn't be any sort of development, and in fact, no motorized vehicles or anything like that. And so it's my theory that to keep the pristine areas pristine, you have to have areas that are well managed, but can handle density so that people don't trample the pristine areas. And that happens at Timberline. We get a lot of people, maybe 2 million people a year at Timberline, to be in the mountains. Now, your version of being in the mountains is far different than most of the people who visit Timberline. Some of them, will never be able to ski or ride in their life. But we need to do that within kind of what we call the capability of the ecosystem. There's an impact, we understand the impact, it's a known impact, and we manage for it. The other aspect of that is critically important, we need to be sustainable. So the Timberline is a certain economic engine. We're the largest employer around here year-round, and it provides jobs for locals and folks, and it's a little kind of economic engine up here on the south flank of Mount Hood. And sustainability needs to be economic sustainability also. So a couple different things there. And then the cornerstone of what we do at Timberline is really our culture and our people. And when you're around there, you'll see that people are generally happy. You're dealing with a bunch of people, there's always outliers, but people are happy, they're excited to be there, they like working with each other, And a sense of place, we kind of call it. You can have this awesome mountain, you can have this beautiful lodge, but if people aren't doing what they should be doing or what they want to be doing and happy doing it, it doesn't kind of close the triangle. And so that's critical to what we do, and we call that a sense of place. The other thing is we need to be open to change at Timberline. You know, we've been there since 1955, and there's been dramatic changes, this being a big one right here along the way. And we need to be flexible, and we need to be able to hopefully see that coming before it's too late, and be able to change course and be open to change. So Timberline was, touched on this a little bit. It was built in 1937 by the Works Progress Administration. It was the Depression, so no one had work. And there were some kind of folks in Portland who were skiers, and they were well connected politically. And they said, okay, this is the time we're going to be able to build a ski lodge. We're going to have the government help us out. We're going to build a ski lodge on the south side of Mount Hood. These are fancy Portland business people. And so they kind of went and made their proposition. But there wasn't a ski area bucket of money. But there were buckets of money. And where there was quite a bit of money was in the federal arts budget. And so the idea of Timberline was not only to put people to work, but it was also to kind of have craftspeople learn the trade back then. They were fearing that blacksmiths and wood carvers and painters and weavers were going away from those trades. So this was basically a purposeful way to put artists to work at Timberline. And then, so when you walk around, you'll see all that. You'll see the blacksmith's work. You'll see the wood carvings and the fabric on the couches and the paintings on the walls. And it was all done for that project by people who were oftentimes unskilled. And there were kind of masters who helped train them along the way. And that culture and how that thing was built is woven into what Timberline is. So it's kind of was built in a really grave time for special reasons, and what came out of it is something that's really cool. But again, it was built to be a ski area. And so you mix this kind of museum thing with skiing and outdoor recreation, and I think it comes up to be a really cool thing. So ROK, the name of our company is my dad's initials. That's him. So Dad was grew up in New York City, and hadn't really ever skied before, but was a trained social worker. He went to Columbia University and he got his degree in social work, and he had 2 opportunities, one in Seattle and one in Portland, and his parents had both passed away, and so he was going to go west, come heck or high water. And so he chose Portland, and he worked in a place called the Neighborhood House downtown, working with kids like you, but not kids like you, kids who were in trouble and needed some guidance. And he had always wanted to have a camp. He went to camp up in Maine as a kid in the summers, and he wanted to have a camp. He wanted to do something like this. And so Timberline had fallen on hard times, and the operators had gone bankrupt. And part of that's timing. So there was certainly mismanagement there, but what I was telling you before, that skiing and winter sports weren't mainstream, even up until the early 50s. It was just the hardy few Boy Scouts who could get to the mountain, and be able to get around and make it fun. The large percentage of the population weren't interested in that. So the numbers weren't great for skiing, but his timing was good. So he wrote a proposal to the Forest Service, 29-year-old kid, and got the deal, and had some money and put plenty of his money into it. But the timing, like I said, was pretty good also. There's a lot of guys coming back from the war. Dad was in the Air Force, but a lot of them were in the 10th Mountain Division, started ski areas in Colorado. And in the late 1950s and early 1960s, there was kind of this renaissance in winter sports, and skiing became vogue and cool and fashionable, and it was part of advertising and things like that. And so that timing really kind of helped Timberline. And when Dad started there were 13 ski areas in the United States, so it wasn't a big deal. And now look at it. So in terms of embracing change, snowboarding was kind of a seismic shift in winter recreation business back in the early 80s. And I was a youngster at the time, but my father especially really embraced snowboarding when it was quite controversial at some resorts. And just so you know, the risk management liability side of things in the 1980s was kind of severe. Insurance companies didn't want any inverted aerials. They didn't want any jumps on slopes. And then snowboarding came into fashion and really kind of pressed that issue a bunch. And so terrain features were desired by people on one board and people on skis, but really pushed by this rogue band of crazy snowboarders, which Tim was one of. So one thing that I think is elemental in how freestyle terrain got developed in ski areas. Ski areas didn't understand terrain features, didn't understand what we call parts today, and because of that liability risk, really were loath to build something, especially something that is big and dramatic, when most of our customers are folks who are just, pretty average skiers or riders. So come around summer camps at Timberline, and we had 4 summer camps back in the day, and snowboarding became extremely hot and popular. There was a bunch of money chasing young, influential kids who wanted to snowboard, and it was pretty crazy on the mountain for a while. But the unique laboratory effect that was created is, I would have never built the features that the camps built at my ski area for our customers, but because we had this camp resort relationship, I looked at them like private laboratories where we would do what they wanted us to do, even though we would never build it in the public area of the park. And that process over 30 years allowed for kind of the terrain parks that you see today, the types of hits and whatnot, half pipes, different sizes, to be developed. And standard is a bad term in snowboard parks because they change every minute of every day, but it kind of created what a terrain park looks like today. And that wouldn't have happened, I don't think, without Wendell's and High Cascade snowboard camps. So that really helped professionalize what freestyle skiing is today. And if you think about it, there may be 1 or 2 U.S. either riders or alpine skiers who participated in the Olympics hasn't trained at Mount Hood. I mean, literally everyone has, just count. So that's a testament to what's going on there. And these are the sorts of features that, that we have today. And you guys are absolutely insane, I think, for doing this sort of stuff.
Phil. You don't hit rails or boxes?
I hit that Raven right there. And you guys have seen these videos, but here's one that the U.S. freestyle team put together. But no, go back.
Keep running, keep
It's crazy. So those little, you see those little butterflies in there? They migrate every August or late July, and they're up on Palmer hanging out with everyone. So that's really cool. These big, you know, fancy people doing really impossible stuff to do, and that's what everyone kind of aspires to. But in our business, and I think probably the camp business, the real kind of thing, at least at Timberline, our bread and butter is quite a bit different, and it's your normal kid who wants to learn how to do something and get better at it. So with this little progression video, I edited my nephew's, George's video, and it's cute, but George was a camper here for 2 seasons. This is George.
My name is George, and I'm going to be posting a series of videos called Teen Line 5. I hope you like them. These are filmed at Mount Hood, Oregon, Timberline Lodge. Let's go hit the slopes.
And his video is a lot longer, but I love that progression there because that's really what it's about for us and what we do. And the stuff that sells posters are the U.S. freestyle team, but the thing that resorts kind of live on are families and kids learning and developing over time. So another change, and we wanted to embrace this change a long time ago, but we got caught up in litigation, is our bike park, which opened on August 13th, this August. And it was well received and took a long time to do legally and then a couple years to build it. But you can see in this picture, I think it's so cool that you can be riding bikes and riding the snow on the same day, you know. And you can see the glacier up there in the background. And I just think in the future it's going to be really cool. I think it's a great opportunity for this camp to do both, you know, both on the same day or one or the other. And we're gonna add a few more trails next year, and we'll open it as soon as the snow melts. There's a little video of that too. Great for little guys and gals.
Yeah.
So that's about all I have. One thing that we're working on right now is we bought a little summit ski hill down in government camp, and we just had a master plan of that accepted by the Forest Service, and we'll make our first proposal first kind of action that we're going to do out of that in the next couple of months here. But ideally what that will do is join the Timberline permit area down to government camp and help with transportation needs. We look at putting a gondola from down there all the way up to Timberline, and be great for sightseeing, mountain biking, and transportation issues. It's on our website if you want to check it out. So thank you very much.
Yeah.